Are there any additions or deletions to that agenda? I'd like to add one thing into council and committee reports, 9.1, AQUA 7 verbal. Are there any other? Yes, Councillor
I'd like
Penner.
to add a verbal on drum solid waste.
9.2, drum solid waste. Any other additions or deletions to that agenda? Seeing as not, does somebody want to approve the agenda with amendments? Deputy Reeve King.
I'd make the motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Okay, we have a motion before us to accept the amended agenda. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. We pre-circulated the minutes of the December 14th meeting. Are there any errors or omissions on that agenda or on those minutes? Or would somebody like to make a motion? Councillor McGee.
I'd like to move that we approve the minutes of the December 14th council meeting as presented.
We have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 14th as presented. All those in favor? That is carried unanimously. Okay, where are we going here? It's not 8, yeah, it's close enough to 8:35. All righty. Nihil Regional Family and Services Support Services. Welcome, Ms. Jackson Berry. And we look forward to your report. So anytime you're ready, Shelley.
Now is it on? Yes. Okay. Oh, good. My voice is even louder. So I have an audience. I get to talk about FCSS and have a microphone. You guys have made my day. Good. I just need to, I was going to give you all a wonderful brochure before I started, but I was too busy talking to everyone. So, thanks very much, Carolyn. Well, and I have a screen in front of me. I just need some glasses and I'm good to go. Thank you guys very much for this time. And I really, let me start something so I don't go over time. I expect the cane to come out if I need to be pulled off of the podium. So just wanted to give a bit of a background about Nihil Regional FCSS. And I always love this opportunity because it's an excellent topic to share with others. So provincially, Family and Community Support Services started back in 1966, and it is the only program like this in Canada. So it had different names as we went through, but at the end of the day, what we actually do is exactly the same. And it emphasizes on preventive social programming, and it emphasizes community. That tends to be what has been common and has continued. So FCSS is actually a legal partnership between municipalities and the provincial government. So the provincial government puts up 80% dollar based on a formula that involves population, and that varies a bit, but and then to access that money, municipalities must contribute a minimum of 20. So an 80-20 formula, so 25 cents for every 75 from the province. So, and the main things around that is it's to deliver social programming that's preventive in nature, so that's really important, and provided at the earliest opportunity with the belief that the sooner we can provide supports and services to people, the more likely they are to build that resiliency and carry on. And then overall, just to promote then the well-being of individuals, families, and communities. So when we report on things, we're usually reporting on individuals, families, or communities. Those are the sections that we would be providing some support on. And so the key principles, so FCSS has a regulation and an act. And so these come out, these are the principles of FCSS. And the first one is local decision-making. So this is one of those rare programs that comes down to the municipalities to make the decisions about what is needed in those communities, social, in that preventive social end. You know, over time, we've ebbed and flowed provincially, that there's been other opportunities that the municipalities have had that, but this is one that's been sticking around since its inception, that once the municipalities sign that partnership, they have the ability to make that decision. So the one thing about FCSSs across the province is they're all made up very differently. So you guys head off to conferences and people talk about different makeups. Some are completely ran by a municipal council, and some have a not-for-profit, they're a charitable not-for-profit status in some places, and then we would be an example of a regional one. So 6 municipalities joining together to provide services for an area. So next is community development. To really believe that community are the key to the people are the most valuable resource, and engaging and having them connected to what's going on is extremely important. Volunteerism, I mean, the research is there, people being involved in their community and volunteering, there is such huge benefits for the community, but as well for the people doing it. So that's another key principle. And then the last one is partnerships. FCSS doesn't come to the table with tons of money, so one of the things we're always doing is trying to partner and connect with other organizations, other groups, other service providers, whatever that looks like. So that's the other key principle. Responsibility, so this is in the act as to what the municipalities are responsible for. So stronger communities, promoting public participation, so they really do come back just to what the key principles are, that volunteerism and effective use of resources, and that coordination and cooperation. So all fit back to what the key principles are. So FCSS actually has a fairly big box of things that they can do around preventive social programming, but when the board sits down, these are the things that they cannot do. So no recreation is one of the end, no direct funding to individuals, nothing crisis or rehabilitative in nature, and not duplicating services. So even if the Alberta government chose to not fund something anymore, it's not, FCSS can't say, well, that was really important, we should fund that. Years and years ago, there was an application on the table for the board, and it was, they'd cut aids in the school, and so there was an application to FCSS to fund aids in the school. Well, because they decided, because the government was cutting funding to that, FCSS can't go in and do that for something that was originally provided by the government. So those are the things that we cannot do. Let me see. So now on to our FCSS. So our regional program is, we're here to strengthen the quality of life for all the residents within our participating municipalities. I was missing my P's and M's there. That's a volunteerism and preventive social programming. So a bit of our history. So so the 6 municipalities joined forces in 1988 to fund just the Nihil Community Resource Program. So that was, at that time, I think 2.5 positions in the school systems. And so that's all that they weren't accessing, all of their funding, but they were just accessing that little bit of funding to provide that service. Then in 1998, the municipalities came to the table, all 6 of them, and they said, let's create a regional family and community support services program. So that is actually, as Lori did the math for me, 24 years ago, because you know, I needed some help with that. Anyways, so came to the table, they created an agreement and started the regional program. So the family resource program was still partnered with 2 other partners at that time, but it was one of the services provided, but a number of other things, and then all of the funding was being accessed at that point. So that's kind of the beginning, even though the Fcss funding was being accessed before, it was just for children and youth at that time. So when they made the agreement, Nihil County volunteered to be the administrating body for the board. So they said, we'll take care of all of the accounting and house you, and we'll just do all those wonderful things for you, payroll, all that kind of stuff. So Kneehill County stepped up to the plate for that for us in 1998 and took us under their wing. And so the board sends the direction, and then the county does the administration of all those sorts of things for us. So that changed, and I don't know, I didn't write the year down. So there was a bit of a change in there that we moved out of the county building and we moved into the provincial building, and that was under the town of Three Hills, had created an agreement around that. And so we were there, and then we moved into our present home, which you guys have provided to us, which is fabulous. So in 1998 was the initial agreement. In 2012, that must have been when we did a move to the provincial building, and that agreement was updated at that point. And then in 2020, the reason I popped this in here is over those number of years, FCSS was holding a number of external contracts. So not just that municipal and provincial partnership. We held a number of partnerships with the Alberta government through Children's Services. And at that time, in 2020, those were all terminated. And it wasn't just us, it was completely around the province, but all of that funding was lost. And so to Nihil Regional FCSS, we lost just over $500,000, which was actually more money than we actually had in our partnership. And all of that money was very much focused on children, youth, and families. So the board at that point needed to make some decisions. So they created a new, went through a strategic overview and had a look. I just need to look at the time. Have I wore out my time yet? Oh, getting close. So created a new strategic direction, so really focusing on that. So family and community support services, we cover birth to death. So there was looking at how are we providing services. And so one of the things with the loss of that funding is because we had money coming in for children, youth, and families from another source, we weren't needing to provide quite as much money in that area to cover our birth to death. So the board, that was part of their process. So this is right now what they're focusing on is, I mean, you guys can see that. So really wanting to focus on building awareness and as well communicating and then delivering programs and really focusing on purposeful investment. So again, trying to meet the needs as much as possible. So that was their strategic plan. So this is just an example of some of the programs that we offer. And information and referral is a big part of what we do. And so whether that just be picking up the phone or emails or people walking in to try and connect people to the best supports or services in our area, because we hear a lot of that is, well, I just didn't know where to go. So that tends to postpone when people access services, is because they didn't know where to go, so you don't access. So, and then we do that through our community services directory, and when we can host them, our community discovery nights, all those sorts of things, is really trying to support residents in knowing what's available to them. So that's a big part of what we do. Our community volunteering contacts program, again, it's been around a very long time. Volunteers assisting low-income people in our area to complete a basic tax return. So one of the things that provincially that we are part of is collecting data. So I just sent it, we're just sending it off today. So hot off the press from last year is we had 11 volunteers who completed 239 returns. And we kind of calculate, because a lot of benefits that people receive, they have to complete their taxes to be able to access them. So it was just over $1,200,000 that was able to stay and be accessed by our residents just because of that assistance with having their taxes completed. So that can make a real difference for people in our area. Lots of different interagency groups, so really trying to get that community engagement, whether it be our child and youth working group, interagency, our dementia-friendly coalitions, those sorts of things, or our prevention of family violence and bullying. So again, trying to gather people together to work to move social initiatives forward. Volunteerism, we do a lot through our Volunteer Nihil website to try and connect people to opportunities. We do education and appreciation as well. And Tools for School is another program that we deliver. We administer that program, and Angie's got it really set that a lot of volunteers do a lot of the work for us, so that works out well. Other program we partner on is Birthday in a Box. We have a number of, as you can see, parenting type of programs and youth type programs and early childhood stuff, so depending on what that looks like. One of the other programs, services that we support is the disaster social services. So each of our 6 municipalities has designated Nihil Regional FCSS as the person to provide their disaster social services. So that would be that people end, if people need to be supported with basic needs during a disaster in their community. So one example would be is we worked with Nihil County and when the Swalwell train derailment happened. So supporting that way. So that's one of the other things that we provide is through our connection there. Again, FCSS provincially can't fund that, but we can provide those services and supports because we have those connections. We provide, just a quick, more in detail, a family marriage counseling program that's been around for many years, 2002. Again, we are finding that people needing to leave their community for those services was really having them get to more of a crisis point. So trying to give easier access has seemed to make a difference. So that's one that we fund. Our Nihil family wellness workers, they were part of the presentation last year with the annual report. So we presently partner with Golden Hill School Division on that. They provide that social emotional support, and we partner with the school division just because it really makes a difference in accessing children and youth and families accessing it where they already at an earlier point because they are already connected to the schools. So that seems to have made a huge difference. So, so this program had a lot of funding from Children's Services. And so we used to have 3 full-time people, and then that needed to be revamped. So a family wellness worker program like this format has been around since 2020. In August, we started that. And then seniors outreach. So FCSSs can provide direct services or they can externally fund programs. And so seniors outreach is one of the ones that the Nihil Regional FCSS Board externally funds. And so they're the ones supporting our seniors throughout the Nihil area. So that is one of the partnerships so if people are needing supports around that, that's where we would refer them to because of that. We do a few other partnerships. So right now on the go, we have the Rural Mental Health Project that we might be picking your brain about down the road. And then we certainly get lots of donations for some of the other projects that we run. That is our board at present, and this is our staff at present. So back when we had all of that funding, the contracts, we had 13 staff. And with the loss of those, we were down to 2. So we have built ourselves up to this group of staff people who I can't speak highly enough. This group of people is amazing and truly supports the social and emotional well-being throughout the Nihil area and are passionate about what we do. So it is an absolute pleasure for me to work with them. And that's how you get a hold of us. And I'm, how bad am I? Only 2 minutes over?
Oh, you're fine.
Did you notice that I started to talk really fast at the end?
I don't know if you're talking faster or your hands were just moving faster.
Don't tie my hands down or I can't talk unless you want me not to talk.
Are there any questions from council to Ms. Jackson-Berry? Go ahead, Faye.
Glad to have you. I still encounter a lot of people confused about the family resource workers as community resource workers, not employees of the school division. Is that correct? And could you just clarify how that works?
Sure. We are very unique. So the Family Nihil Community Resource Program, which moved into Family Wellness Worker, that started, as I said, back in 1988, and it came about, it was grassroots. So it started up in the Trochu community. There had been a number of youth suicides, and it was the community who came together and said, we need to help prevent some of this. So that's what started the program in our area. And so it was, and then through the municipal, it was community members who did it. And then once they accessed the Fcss funding to start it, then at that point, that's all the funding that they were using. And then they connected with the schools because at that point, the Three Hills School Division wanted to be part of that. And then it was actually, at that time, it was called Social Services, came knocking on the door and said, hey, we actually want to be part of this. So we're very much an anomaly because lots of other places, it was a little bit later, but it was the school division who said, oh, we think that this would be this kind of fit would be good in our schools. And so we are truly an anomaly that they are Nihil Regional FCSS staff that are in the school. And it can be hard to understand because in Golden Hills, we're the only area that it's like that. And now Golden Hills, so then when it moved from Three Hills School Division to Golden Hills, there's certainly, you know, they said, yeah, they would welcome that partnership. So we've usually had a very strong working relationship with the school division, and they have been comfortable with this strange anomaly, but it really is different. So constantly needing to educate around that, Councillor McGee, for sure. So I don't know if that helps, but it was just one of those that because it started grassroots, we've done our best to really try and maintain the integrity of that because, I mean, again, that's what FCSS is about, is the community coming around a social issue or concern and trying to address it.
Thank you. I've worked in schools with both choices, and I really do prefer this choice because it does address the actual needs of the community and the needs there as opposed to school division needs. It's slightly different, and I think the students are well cared for, so I love that you have that in your program.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Penner.
Good morning, Shelley. Thanks
morning.
for coming. I hope we keep our format, our regional format, because talking to other counties and that, they know about you guys and how well it is run, and it's so positive. My question to you, in 2020, some of the external contracts were taken away. Is there anything out in the window, you heard anything about them giving some of them back to you?
Well, in my dreams, no. So what they did is they took all of the children's services, took all of the money in the province that they gave out to different organizations for prevention and early intervention. Because really, children's services tends to do a lot of their focus on intervention. But they always had this pocket of money. And so they took all of that money back and they created something called Family Resource Networks. And they designated the areas that would go together, like the geographical areas, and they designated how much money would be available. And they put together a plan of you will deliver these programs. So they severed a lot of partnerships by doing that. So those family resource networks started in April 2020, so right in the height of a pandemic. So, I mean, they really have had a struggle. But in the Nihil area, we really had a lot, or actually, and I could even speak because we ran Parent Link for Nihil, Starland, Hannah, and Drumheller. But there was just the pot of money that we had from the central region was so much bigger than when the province overlaid and said provincially, this is what everyone's going to get, it is much smaller. So because we had, as I said, over $500,000, but we weren't the only organization who was receiving money. We had an organization doing home visitation, which became under this umbrella as well. There was other money going into other schools, as Councillor McGee just talked about, to run programs like ours in Drumheller and Wheatland. So there was so much more money than what they put once they did the provincial thing, which brings me back to how amazing I think locally driven programs are, because they had to do it provincially and put a blanket across things that making everyone equal and the same. So all of that said, the family resource workers networks are in place. I would say they're having a bit of a struggle connecting, and that's the pandemic, right? You need people to be able to gather, to connect, to share what your services are. So hopefully we'll see more support there. At this point, there has been no money put out from the provincial government that would be outside what they have decided to do with this, all of their money in this one basket. So that was a very long answer.
Are there any other questions from council for Shelley? Well, I don't see any, so, Deputy Reeve King.
I just want to comment to say to Shelley, I get to work with you, which is a great pleasure, but you have the support of this council, and the FCSS program has this council's support, and so we're very much appreciative of the efforts you make in addition to your staff. So I just want you to know that from this council to you, and from me personally working with you. The work you do is very much needed in this community, and it's very much appreciated. So thank you.
Okay, well, thanks, Shelley. We always look forward to your presence at our meetings. You're as informative as ever, and keep up the good work. I know it's difficult helping the community stay strong with the funding challenges that FCSS has, and maybe someday we'll get back to where we should be.
Be excellent.
So thank you very much for coming, and thanks for the report.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you too. Maybe it'll be better than 21, who knows? Okay, our next agenda item is the appointment of our ag fieldman for the county. Lori, you're bringing this forward? Okay, anytime you're ready, Ms. Watt.
Good morning, Mr. Reeve and Council. So I bring forward to you this morning appointment of our agricultural fieldman. So a little background: in compliance with the Alberta Agricultural Service Board Act, Section 8, subsections 1, 2, and 3, the fieldman must be made a designated officer through council. So just a little bit more detail on each of those sections. If a council has established a board, the council, in consultation with the board, must appoint a qualified person as agricultural fieldman to implement agricultural policies and programs and to manage the agricultural resources of the municipality. The agricultural fieldman shall act as a designated officer of the municipality in carrying out the functions, duties, and powers of the municipality under any act relating to agriculture, and in implementing projects respecting agricultural agreed on between the council and the minister. An agricultural fieldman is in the municipality employing that fieldman. A municipal inspector under the Weed Control Act, an inspector of the municipality under the Agricultural Pests Act, and a soil conservation officer of the municipality under the Soil Conservation Act. The agricultural fieldman is a required position under the Agricultural Service Board Act if a municipality has an agricultural service board and subsequent ASB grant agreement in place between itself and the province. In the past, the incumbent to the manager, parks and ag services position has been appointed by council to the ag fieldman role. Fallon Sherlock was appointed in the interim while the manager role was being filled. Shelby has recently completed her certified agricultural fieldman training and has been working in the Ag Service and Parks Department for over 5 years. She brings a strong understanding of the provincial acts and the legislative requirements for this appointment. So our recommended motion is, now that Shelby is the manager of parks, or of agricultural services and parks, the council appoints Shelby Sherwick as agricultural fieldman for Nihil County.
Okay, thanks, Lori. Are there any questions from council for Ms. Watt? If not, what are council's wishes? Oh, wait, okay, go ahead, Councillor Christie.
I'd like to make the motion to appoint Shelby Sherlock as our ag fieldman, if that's genetic or generically proper and not field woman.
You don't go there. Okay, so we have a motion to appoint Shelby Sherwick as the ag fieldman for Nihil County. Is there any discussion to that motion? Seeing as not, I will call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously.
Thank you, council.
Thank you. Okay, our next agenda item is 7.1. To do with RCMP retroactive payment clarification. Mr. Hogan, you're taking this one?
I am, Mr. Eve.
Anytime you're ready.
So through you to all of council, the item that's before you is regarding RCMP retroactive payment clarification. It's I recognize it's a clunky title. The background to this is, as council's aware, the RCMP provide policing services to most areas of the province. There are a few municipalities, Edmonton, Calgary, Lacombe, et cetera, that have their own police forces. But with that, the cost of doing that is shared among the different levels of government. So the federal government puts in a portion, the provincial government puts in a portion, and municipalities put in a portion. As we're also aware, that's an oversimplification of what happens. As municipalities actually don't put in a portion as part of the agreement, they're forced to put in a portion because the province has mandated that the municipalities will pay part of the provincial share of policing. So that was downloaded to us a number of years ago, and as council is aware, that started at in the $70,000-$80,000 range, and within a year or two, it'll reach its where we expect it to end up, which is around that $480,000 to $500,000 a year cost to Nihil County to pay for policing services. Again, that's subsidizing the provincial share under the provincial federal agreement. Other background that feeds into this item is that the RCMP in the very recent past came up with a collective bargaining agreement. So in essence, they unionized. Well, not in essence, that's really what happened, is that, and they negotiated with the federal government around what well, all the things that tie into a collective bargaining agreement. So remuneration, what they're paid, all sorts of other employment functions and details. One of the things that's come out of that is that there are going to be some retroactive payments made to RCMP for the past 5 years. What's not certain and what's unknown at this point is who's footing that bill. So what the clarification that a number of parties are seeking, particularly municipalities, and in this case, our MP Martin Shields, is if it's been agreed that there are going to be some retroactive top-ups, who's footing the bill for that? And so we don't know right now if any amount of that cost is going to be passed on to us as a municipality, but that's what we're trying to find out. Is if the federal government was a negotiator of that agreement and the federal government is on the hook for that money, then okay, that's great. There's nothing coming down to the province or to municipalities via the province. But if that's not the case, we don't know that yet. And so what we're looking for in this item is to provide a letter of support for our MP to pose these questions or try to put a little bit of weight behind the questions that he's already posing so that we can get answers to this, so that we can actually understand if there's an issue here for us or not. Because right now there might be, there might not be, we simply don't know. And a number of municipalities in various forms have submitted letters, some of them within this area to Martin Shields, but most of them in general. And you would have seen that in some of the past council correspondences that went out with the agenda when we get CC'd on those. So there are a lot of municipalities asking this question. This was a request from our MP that his questions, that as he's posing them to the various ministers in power, that will have a bit more weight if there's letters of support from municipalities coming behind them. And that's leading to our recommendation that council provide a letter of support to MP Martin Shields for use in seeking clarification regarding retroactive RCMP payments from the Minister of Public Safety and President of the Treasury Board.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hogan. Are there any questions from council to Mr. Hogan? I don't see any. I think it's good to get it, to have some support at the federal level to get some of these clarifications forward, because who knows what we could be on the hook for. What are council's wishes here? Councillor Cunningham.
I'll make the motion that council provide a letter to support MP Martin Shields for use in seeking clarification regarding retroactive RCMP payments from the Minister of Public Safety and President of the Treasury Board.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a motion before us that's presented on screen. Is there any discussion to that motion? I see none. I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Thank you. Next agenda item, 7.2, opportunity to meet with municipal affairs. Mr. Hogan, anytime you're ready.
Yeah. Through you, Mr. Reeve, to council, this item is one that we see each year. As council is aware, the Rural Municipalities of Alberta Convention is often paired up, or I shouldn't say is paired up, but is used as a foundation for a number of other entities and parties to arrange meetings with municipalities. So whether that's various interest groups, businesses, et cetera. One of the main ones, and one of the main important ones, is the opportunity to meet with government officials. And so a number of government entities, such as Municipal Affairs, K Division, which is the headquarters of the RCMP, Environment, Transportation, a number of them book time off during that conference so that they can be available to meet with municipalities as they're attending the conference, that if there are pressing issues, those councils can go and meet with that minister and have 15 minutes with them to express what their concern is, hopefully express a solution to that concern, and talk directly with the minister involved and their chiefs of staff, et cetera. So this, we receive these invitations each year prior to each convention, and this one is from the Minister of Municipal Affairs. And they're asking, and this is not just to Nihil County, this is a broad invite to all municipalities that are going to be there, to, if there's something they want to bring up, to send notice to the minister, and they'll triage them accordingly. And what I mean by that is that they don't have time to meet with every municipality. Not every municipality has an issue they need to meet with the minister about. And so they take a look at them and they basically say, okay, well, what do we need to meet on and what do we not? And as we see in the background, they give a number of criteria there. And so, for example, if we make a request that has to do with, say, environment, the Minister of Municipal Affairs is not likely to meet with us because that's not within their domain to bring any recourse to. The other thing they'll do is the further away you are from Edmonton, the less weight they'll put to your request, because that proximity to Edmonton means they can probably arrange a meeting with you outside of the RMA, where they'll use the RMA for those municipalities that are at further distance from Edmonton because they're going to be there anyway, and so they want to make sure that they can spread that around. It's harder to get to those ones, so they give them higher weighting. The other, as we go through these and we get these, like I said, they generally are 15 to 20 minutes in duration. And I think the approach that I've always espoused in the past is that if we don't necessarily want to meet with the minister just for the sake of meeting with the minister. And I am a believer that where we can develop relationships with ministers and with the governing party and the groups in power, that's of benefit to our municipality and of benefits to our ratepayers. But that being said, we don't want to be in a position where we're viewed as wasting people's time. So if we're looking to book a meeting just to go in there and just catch up with no issue, that will impact our likelihood of getting future meetings with the minister. So there is a balance there when we come to these invitations as to how we go about that lobby. When we weigh this one, we don't know that there is necessarily a pressing issue for Nihil County in regards of meeting with the Minister of Municipal Affairs. That's an admin perspective. Council may feel very different. And so the item that's before you is if you'd like to decline that opportunity to invite, or that if you want to decline that invitation, or if there is a pressing issue that council sees that you might want to meet with the minister about.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Hogan. You know, the only thing I would consider would be the assessment review, but that's beating a dead horse. There's lots of advocacy through the RMA through that, and they are working at trying to make the oil companies pay their taxes. I don't think meeting with them on that issue would be very productive, and we're not going to learn anything. Is there anything that council thinks that would be worthwhile to meet with the Minister of Municipal Affairs with? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Cunningham.
I'm not sure in the past how, many opportunities you folks have had, but, just speaking for myself, as a new councillor, like I would always welcome the opportunity to meet with a minister. And just with as much things that are going on in the province right now, I think we could fill the 15 minutes quite easily. But that's just, like, I don't know if there's opportunities throughout the year to meet with him, or, I know with COVID it's a little bit of a different life, but to me, I would probably welcome the opportunity to meet with him.
Well, we would have to find something that his ministry is actually in charge of. I know we have issues with ambulance. I know we have issues with a number of different subjects, but meeting with him, we would have to be very specific on what his ministry is actually in charge of. There are opportunities to meet with him through the RMA meetings. He usually attends the hospitality suites. I did have an opportunity to talk with him a little bit in November. We met up and had a little chat, but that being said, it was more social, just to reconnect more than anything. Is there anything specific that anyone can think of that we would like to meet with the Minister of Municipal Affairs with? Go Go ahead, Councillor Cunningham.
Well, like you mentioned, Reeve, the ambulance, which I know, I know wouldn't fall under his scope, but I know there was some talk in the last year about, you know, parts of the Municipal Government Act, like I know specifically Section 619 was brought forward to me a few times, and a few colleagues that I had mentioned that as well. So that's something in the future that I would be interested in discussing with him, but that's just one thing I have. So.
Any comments, Mr. Hogan?
No, none that I have regarding that. I think the other benefit with the Minister of Municipal Affairs is that I won't say he's local, but he is relatively, you know, as representing a Calgary riding, he is based in this area of the province, so there are other opportunities that we could make use of if we had something come up, I believe.
Yeah, I've met with him at his constituency office a couple of times also. I think until they open up the MGA, the chances of getting that looked at are pretty much not going to happen. Any other thoughts? Councillor McGee.
I understand what you're trying to say, Councillor Cunningham, and I just wanted to reassure you that I've had really good experiences connecting while I'm at RMA. I think that's one of the biggest reasons to even just attend. The informal ways that we get to make those statements really help a lot. And so in the interest of being strategic and respectful, I would like to make the motion that we decline the opportunity to formally meet with the Minister of Municipal Affairs at the RMA Spring Convention.
Okay, thank you, Councillor McGee. We have a motion before us to decline the opportunity to meet with the minister. Oh, go ahead. Okay, I'll just go through the motion here. To meet with the minister at the RMA convention. Is there any discussion to that motion? And go ahead, Mr. Hogan.
I just, through you, Mr. Reeve, I just wanted to build on a couple of the comments. Is there are, you know, this is the formal meeting opportunity. There are other opportunities outside of RMA and even at RMA itself. The Minister of Municipal Affairs does host an open house at each convention. That being said, you're probably competing with a bunch of other people to get into a conversation with the minister, but that does happen with patience. But there is also the bear pit opportunities. So the Minister of Municipal Affairs specifically does co-host that with the RMA. So there are also opportunities to straight out ask a question from the floor if council chooses to as well.
Thanks for that, Mr. Hogan. Yeah, there has been numerous opportunities to ask the minister questions. He is very amicable to meeting with people, and he's very outgoing. So sometimes you don't get the answer that you want, but very seldom do you get the answer that you want when you're dealing with a different level of government. Go ahead, Deputy Reeve King.
I guess kind of a little bit supportive of what Councillor Cunningham is bringing forward. And I guess my comment would be is these targeted 15-minute meetings are, you have to be really on point. So if we were to meet with the minister as a council, I guess I would really like to have a good idea of what your thoughts are related to that section 619 that you're talking about, and exactly what we would be requesting of him. So as a council, we could either endorse that or not, and then I would be more comfortable supporting the request for a meeting. We have till the 24th of January to request. So if there was something that you wanted to bring forward prior to that time and for council's perusal, I think that I would encourage you to do that. I think that for us to just request a meeting, unless we have a very specific purpose in mind, we won't, because there's so many other people asking, we won't get that meeting given to us. So I would encourage, if you want to pursue that, I think we need a much more defined idea of what we're going to request. So don't be discouraged, but yeah, okay?
Any other discussion to the motion before us? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Christie.
I guess my comment would be that when we ask questions in the Bear Pit sessions, we not only get targeting the municipal minister, but transportation or whatever the question is directed at, and at least get some dialogue between the ministers. So I think that's pretty positive when we're in that Bear Pit session for sure.
Yes, it is nice that this government puts themselves out there and has the ability to receive our questions, whether or not we get the answers that we're kind of looking for. Sometimes they go off point, which I do believe you had that problem once before, Councillor King. So, yeah, that would be a good opportunity to ask questions at the Bear Pit. But if we do have something that comes up that we would like to specifically meet with the Minister of Municipal Affairs with, under his ministry, I'm sure that we could submit that. Okay, anyway, we have a motion before us for right now to decline the meeting. Okay, go ahead, Councillor McGee.
Just with that discussion, Councillor Cunningham, I just want to be sure that you're feeling okay with waiting? Or do you want us to wait to make this motion till later, since we do have some time to collect your thoughts? Because if you still wanted to have time to consider it, I'd be willing to withdraw my motion.
Go ahead, Councillor Cunningham.
Thank you, Councillor McGee. Yeah, if council's, you know, willing to wait and we could chat about it before, I'm not sure I know we don't have a council meeting before that time. But if we were willing to do that, that would be acceptable to me for sure.
Okay, so then you are going to get together with Mr. Hogan to come up with something?
I could, yep.
That would be acceptable, Mr. Hogan? Okay, so you're willing to withdraw your...
I am, yes. And also my question to Mr. Hogan is, if we, after doing that, still aren't comfortable with actually asking for a time, we still have that opportunity to decline after saying we would like to? Or is that making a yo-yo problem? Like, do we have to give a definite answer today?
Well, okay, I'll let Mr. Hogan answer that question.
So there's, I think, through you, Mr. Eve, I think one of the things at play here is that if you're to operate as a council and what you're going to the minister with, that needs to be a council speaking point, right? You're not operating functionally as a council if you're going there with one person's opinion or two people's opinion or even three people's opinion, right? But once you have four, as determined around this table, then you've got a direction of council, right? Is you've got council saying, yeah, as a group, this is what we want to, where we want to go. With this particular one, we don't have another formal, we have a committee of the whole, but of course you can't make that formal decision at a committee of the whole. So today is your day, right, to determine what that is. And it doesn't mean that you have to come up with every specific speaking point. That can be developed later, right? But the idea that council would want to go forward with this initiative or would want to go forward endorsing that we're going to do a thing, that needs to be a council decision that you make as a group, right? To enforce it. Yes, this is a Nihil County direction. I believe our next council meeting is February 8th, because the one later this month was canceled because it conflicted with the ASB conference.
Deputy Reeve King.
To follow up on Mr. Hogan's point, and I think that's kind of where I was trying to go earlier, is to say that whatever issue it is that we're going to bring forward, not only needs to be driven by an individual councillor, but it has to be a council decision. And so certainly the process by which that question might be brought forward, where we would be ready to go to see a minister, I think is a little bit more time consuming than maybe the time frame in which we have, in order to be able to develop the idea, bring it forward as a request for decision to council, make that decision and then go forward prior to the 24th of January. So the other thing that can happen, and it's certainly not that convenient, is we could request a meeting with the minister outside of an RMA convention, but then there's a lot more costs involved. So that issue's not going away that you're referring to, and so I'm wondering if it's appropriate for this particular instance, we decline that opportunity, we prepare ourselves and are ready for the fall convention where we have another opportunity. We will get the same request, and then we could make that at that time. If you're okay with that approach, Councillor Cunningham.
Go ahead, Councillor Cunningham.
Sorry, I just don't have my calendar in front. When is the spring convention? Is it March?
It'll be in
So I'm just kind of thinking, you know, we do, I mean, if we put in the request that we wanted to meet with him, we do have, what, probably 2 months to really, you know, work on that issue that we're wanting to speak to him about, or like you say, we wait till the fall. Both options would work.
Go ahead, Deputy Reeve King.
And I probably will need some clarification from you, Mr. Hogan, but my understanding is that when we request the meeting, they kind of are asking us to indicate what we would like to talk about and some specifics to the issue that we're going to raise. So again, I think because the request has to be made before the 24th of January, I'm not sure that we have the time frame. I'm not saying let's not do it, but I'm just asking the questions about whether we can actually get our ducks lined up in time.
And that being said, there's no guarantee that the minister will meet on that subject either.
If we don't ask, you can't say no.
True. Councillor McGee.
So through this conversation, I've decided that I would like to have my original motion stand.
All righty. Is there any discussion to that motion? Okay, I see none. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. But I would encourage us to go forward with your suggestion for the fall convention and see if we can get someone's attention there.
Just a comment,
Yes, go
Mr.
ahead,
Reeve, if I
Deputy
could,
Reeve
please.
King.
And by no means does that stop you or us as a council from asking a question in the Bearput session at the spring convention, specifically related to the issue. So you can pursue it there. We could then request a meeting for the fall convention to follow up on what we either see as non-performance or it being ignored or whatever, if you so wish to do that as well.
Okay, I will skip over 8, disposition of delegate business until later in the meeting. We have another delegation coming forward here at 10, but I will go to council and committee reports. 9.1, verbal AQUA 7. We had our AQUA 7 meeting on December the 2nd of 21. Seems like so long ago, but it's not. Our org meeting, again, I was elected to be chair of AQUA 7. Our vice chair would be Miss Mayor McLeod from ACME. It was the only business at the org meeting. At our regular meeting, we did approve our 3-year budget. Drumheller has put in an increase in their water rates, 3.1% increase. I think that brings it up to about $1.70 a cube, if I'm not mistaken. And we are looking at developing a long-term capital plan. We contracted WSP to help us along with that, so we're looking at doing a long-term capital plan. It probably won't be as large as what WSP has suggested. So we've gone through a master rates bylaw, and our rate will be $3.39 a cube starting January 1st. And I think that's about all I can report on. Are there any questions? Oh, I'll get to the next Drumheller Solid Waste, and go ahead, Councillor Penner.
So in December, we met twice, one for budget and one for our org and regular meeting. We have a new chair this year, as our previous chairman retired from municipal government, and so Rick Larson from Wheatland County is our new chair. I'm still on the executive. Staffing is the biggest issue, and so a lot of discussion was held around budget, but we would like to see the new, whoever's hired, deal with the budget going forward. We're sitting in a good spot. We had a little bit of a surplus, so there's no major issues. The job application deadline was on Friday, so we're looking forward to seeing who's put their name forward and doing the interviewing. One thing, there was a little bit of a deficit in transportation of recyclables, which is a good sign that people are recycling. It just wasn't budgeted for, but we felt we had enough surplus to cover it for now. So in saying that, like, the requisites will not be going up this year. It'll be staying the same. A lengthy discussion was held on tipping fees. They are increasing a very small amount. But the big thing that come out of that discussion is that all commercial garbage delivered to the Drumheller District Solid Waste will be charged now. So there was some businesses within the town of Drumheller and some businesses within the counties that have not been paying to go over the scale at the Drumheller Solid Waste, and it's just some old history, and we're clearing all that up. So all garbage that goes across is going to be paid for, which we have been pushing for some time here, for numerous years. So a letter would have gone out, or should have gone out, to the businesses that are getting it for free right now, and that's coming to an end. So, and we do have a couple in the county that have been getting their garbage disposed of at no cost. So yeah, we're looking forward to the new manager, and next meeting's in February.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Penner. Are there any questions for either Councillor Penner or myself? I see none.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Councillor Penner.
I just thought of something furthermore to it. I actually did a webinar here just the other day on the extended producer with recycling. And so it's going to be very interesting times, not just for the landfill, but for us as counties, and which the departments have come forward to us because of the close down of our recycling depot in town here. And I'm sure John in our department is busy working through that, what we're going to do going forward, because it's going to be very interesting times. We are going to have to deal with it. Some areas have gone to contracting out, other businesses are doing it, others are sticking with their little commissions doing it. So there's interesting times ahead when it comes to that extended producer responsibility.
And who pays for it? Okay, if there are no questions, would someone care to make a motion to receive for information as presented? Yes, Deputy Reeve King.
I'd make that motion. We receive the council and committee reports as presented for information.
All righty, we have a motion before us. Is there any discussion to that motion? I see none. I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that's carried unanimously. We will go on to council follow-up action list. It's been pre-circulated. It's before us. Are there any questions or, well, I guess any questions? Deputy Reeve King.
I know maybe, Mike, you might not be the right Mike to ask this question of, but are we making progress on the question raised regarding road bans for agricultural landlocked producers? I know we're approaching that season again, and so I'm just wondering where we are.
Yeah, that is on our radar with that timing in mind. Because, yeah, we do, the conversation that I've had with our transportation department is that the expectation is that that conversation's back in time for this coming season.
Thank you.
Councillor McGee.
I just would like to follow up also on when do we think we'll be looking at the Horseshoe Canyon Future Committee of the Whole meeting, which that would be number, sorry. Yes, 1, 2, 3. Do you have a timeline about when we can see that at committee of the whole? Because I'd like to see a solid plan and time for us to act before we decide on our staffing needs, et cetera.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just looking for the number of the motion.
35521.
355.
It's
Okay.
first page.
Yeah, we can elevate that to have that come back. That ultimately would feed into some of the 3 and 5 year capital planning, but we can elevate that to bring a discussion back to council.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Deputy Reeve King.
Since Councillor Penner did bring it up in her discussion with solid waste, and the assumption is that we are moving forward, John, our manager is moving forward in that area. Are we planning to have a conversation around recycling soon, or I keep getting questions from my ratepayers, and so.
That should be coming back quite quickly.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions coming from the councillor action, follow-up action list?
Actually, I can, sorry, through
Okay, go ahead,
Mr.
Mr.
Reeve.
Hogan.
I just had pop up on my screen that's, we'll be bringing that back at the next committee of the whole meeting, that discussion around recycling.
Deputy Reeve King.
I was just going to make a motion then that we accept for information the council follow-up action list as presented.
All righty, we have a motion before us to accept for information as presented. Is there any discussion to that motion? I see none. Call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. We have nothing in closed session, I see. So our next agenda item will be the presentation from Junior Achievement. So that starts at 10, so I will put us in recess and we will reconvene at 10. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Janette Santiago. So I'm the new coordinator of East Region and Central Alberta Region for Junior
Just if
Achievement.
you could speak into the mic, we do have, this meeting is being recorded.
Okay.
So for the rest of the group and the general audience cannot hear unless you're speaking into the mic.
Okay,
So just
sounds
giving you the
good.
heads up.
All right,
And the
so-
heads up that it's being recorded, so it'll be here for posterity.
Okay.
Careful what you say.
Am I okay with this microphone now?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it good? Okay, perfect. So I cannot move around. I have to stay here. Okay. All right, so I'm here today. Well, first of all, I would like to thank the opportunity for being able to present in front of you. And thank you for giving me this time to be able to show you what impact we have so far with the schools here in Nihil County with the programs of junior achievement. And also, of course, one of the purpose of my visit today too is hopefully to renew our partnership with regards to our 3-year fund development in support of the JA programs that we offer to our schools in Nihil County.
Okay, before you get started, we will go around the table and introduce ourselves.
Okay,
So
sounds
that
great.
you have an idea who we are, Janet. Starting from my far right.
Hi, Carrie Folks, Division 4.
Thank you.
Hi, Laurie Michelle Cunningham, Division 5.
Good morning, Debbie Pennant, Division 2, down in the Carbon area.
My name is Jerry Whitstock.
Good morning, I'm Ken King. I represent the northeast part of the county, so Trochu and north and east.
Hi, I'm Faye McGee. I am in Division 1, which is down around Drumheller to the Horseshoe Canyon and back up towards Orkney Viewpoint in that area.
And Wade.
I'm Wade Christie, and I'm on the northwest part of the county, so.
And joining us today will be our CAO, Mr. Hogan, which you probably know.
Thank you.
So, yeah, anytime you're ready then, Janette, and go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so before anything else, of course, it's important for us to remember again, what is the mission and vision of a junior achievement? So with this presentation, like mission is to inspire and prepare young people to succeed in a global economy. It's really important right now, especially with the time of pandemic, that our youth needs to be aware of what's happening globally and what's happening in our community. And they need to know what are the changes also happening in the work world. As early as grade 3, up until our grade 12 students, they are already immersed about the basic fundamental realization and also what are the things that is financially important for them to understand as children. And as I've mentioned, as early as grade 3, whom I have myself, an 8-year-old at home, and also until grade 12, where they need to prepare what is out there for them, especially in the pandemic right now. Our vision is JA will be the partner of choice for businesses, educators, and policymakers around the globe seeking to expand workforce and economic development. We will be revered for providing experiences that promote the skills, understanding, and perspective students will need to succeed in a global economy and become productive, contributing members of society. We believe in the boundless potential of our young people. What we do, so we invest in youth by exploring fundamental financial literacy concepts, like how to budget, how to manage debt, understanding what is debit and credit. What is as early as grade 3, we introduce to them what is the purpose of the bank in our communities? What do they do for us? What small businesses, what are their potentials, and what do they contribute in each of the community in our region? Also, that will give them the skills and tools to weather economic decline, similar to our current situation, enabling also students to be work ready so that they are prepared for changing world of work and are able to adapt to ever-evolving working landscapes. The post-pandemic world students will soon enter will likely look very much different, as we already know by now, encouraging youth to discover their entrepreneurial spirit and develop business creativity, communication, and problem-solving skills so they are prepared for new opportunities, no matter what the future holds. So this is very exciting, and I want this to celebrate with all of you regarding the impact in Nihil County. And this is with regards to January to December of 2021. So who are the ones impacted in here? For last year, we have impacted 295 students, and we have 3 schools that very much involved in the county who had multiple programs that they registered in last year. This is Dr. Elliott School. I'm always in communication with Kathy Price, if you know her, and she's very much involved with our programs and would love to continue the partnership that we have with her. Carbon School and also Three Hills. And I'm happy to say that this year I already got a go from Trochu Valley School with Mr. Stephen Marsh to get ahead with 2 more programs to be administered with him. And we will need your help too, because he wanted an in-person volunteer to do those programs for his school this coming March. In total, we have 15 programs delivered, and also we have 16 volunteers that were able to get in touch with these students that were able to teach our programs with them. I would have to say though that with these 16 volunteers, most of these are from the World of Choices event. If you were not aware about World of Choices, this is an event that usually happens in springtime, where we collect a lot of mentors from different areas in the region to talk about their careers, like doctors, nurses, massage therapists, veterinarians, and all those kind of stuff, to talk about the career path that they have and tell the students and inspire them how to get to where they are right now. So most of them are those volunteers. Of course, there are opportunities that we encountered last year. A lot of the teachers were very hesitant to do virtual delivery, which is what we can only do at that time. But I'm happy to say that a lot of the teachers too were very welcoming to learn our program. So we had what we call teacher-led program, which I'm gonna show you on the next slide. These are the delivery options for educators. So we have virtual-led delivery. A volunteer from community delivers the program to classrooms virtually over a platform such as MS Teams, Google Meet, and Zoom. Teacher-led delivery, which educators use JA program materials to deliver the program to their classroom themselves, either in person or virtually. So we send them all the materials they need, the PowerPoint presentation, the PDF forms of the materials, and also we have video trainings with them. As coordinator, they can always get in touch with me if they have more concerns or more things to clarify with regards to the program. Students self-directed, students can access independently online with the flexibility of doing so at school, home, or a combination of both. I guess this is also one way that I can tell you guys that jsab.ca is open for everyone and it's free. If you have youth in your homes, I encourage them to explore our website, because they can get in touch with the programs that we have online and they can do this self-directed. Some of the schools who are doing, or some of the students who are opted online course, these are the ones that we offer for them. Programs offered in Nihil County. So I've given you a sheet in there because it's very small in here. These are the programs that we have. Just going through this quickly, we have our community for grade 3 students, telling them what are the businesses around the community, with the fun, engaging activities with them at their very young age. More Than Money tells a lot about how it is to save money, which is very important at a very young age for them to understand how saving works and how can they do this and what kind of jobs they can actually look into at the very young age to be able to participate in some allowances at home and stuff like that. Our business world, this is about small businesses in our community and giving them that spark, an aha moment that, oh, we've shown a lot of videos about this with regards to the Dragon Dance video, where a group of young individuals from, I believe they're from Saskatchewan, that they built a community garden and be able to develop and sell some dressings for salad dressings in their community. And they were able to get 10,000 each from the Dragon's Den, then without the return, because they wanted to get this involved, they get involved in their community and also put more in the scholarship program that they also do in their school. Our business of our own, they get to create a mini businesses in school with the activities that we do. Dollars with cents, one of the striking things that they learn here is that about online shopping. You can actually check if your online website is safe for you to shop in there. And there's a lot of tips in this program about it. Stronger Together is just having a diversity in the workplace. Economics for Success, we were talking about this with Jacqueline a while ago. They learn how to budget as they enter and think about college. Investment Strategies Program, this is a real-time stock market simulation where they can compete with all the students participating around Canada. World of Choices, I'll tell more about this on my next slides. Be Entrepreneurial is telling them what they can do at their young age and what businesses they can start with. Personal Finance, this is an in-depth one, very short program, but very, very valuable because they get to see if I want to go to University of Lethbridge and I need to rent a house there, and I have, what are the expenses I am expecting if I take a business management course in this university. And it will tell you that you need, for the 4-year course, that you need about $72,000 to spend in order for you to be able to do this management course with everything in it, like food, rental, what is in this year or projecting 4 years if they are coming from grade 9, how is the inflation gonna impact their costs when they enter college. And also company program, this is a big event that I would be discussing with Jacqueline as well for the community, is that really making brick and mortar in a sense of a business with a group of students. And they compete. This one is a wide one that we do in Calgary, and a lot of the students in Calgary and also Edmonton participate in this and do a competition with all the programs or the businesses that they're gonna make, whether it's a product-driven program or a service-driven program. So these are the programs that we offer in our community here. So performance and impact measurement, evaluation framework based on JA's theory of change. JA's theory of change is built on the concept of self-efficacy, the idea that people who believe they will succeed are far more likely than others to actually succeed. We start with always the mentality of I cannot do this. But having the proper mentorship, the positive mentorship that our JA volunteers and our JA employees provide the students, you build the I can attitude. And you want to equip that with the knowledge, of course, with regards to the financial literacy program that we provide our youth, equals to having the I can mentality. And of course, you want to execute that with the I can behavior. Methodology and survey design, this is what we use to be able to see if our programs are effective to our educators and also our students. JA programming outcomes. So we find that youth are more optimistic, youth are more financially literate, youth are better prepared to chart their future. Youth have started building the skills for lifelong success. In essence, we want to make sure that it's the programs that we offer is offered yearly to all the students. If, for example, you have a youth of in grade 3, you want them to have a continuity of that program, and they take that in grade 4 as well, the more than money, and so on until they graduate in grade 12, so that they will see what is actually and capture most of what the value of these programs are. We ask JA students, so this following slide shows you what are the questions we ask in each of the programs and get a survey from our students. Do you feel you are better prepared for your future after participating in a particular program that they have participated? And out of 537 respondents, and this is based from our 2020 survey, we see that majority of them see that they can see that they have learned a lot to see and chartered what they wanted to be in the future. JA students, we asked them do you feel more optimistic about your future after participating in this particular program? And 423 respondents from 2022, majority again says that yes, they are optimistic about what they've learned from the program, at the same time seeing what they wanted to happen for them in the future. What participants are saying, so these are some of the excerpts that we've seen from the surveys when they added some comments on this one. So we have a career mentor from Benevity in the program of World of Choices. I commend JA's commitment to adapting programming to be accessible for students virtually as well continue to navigate the global pandemic. I look forward to seeing evolution of World of Choices and hope that the small role that I was fortunate to play will help to inspire the next generation of tech employees in Alberta. Next one is from our grade 6 teacher. The program included games and videos, which were great for keeping the students engaged. The presenters were knowledgeable and excited about the material. This all made for an excellent presentation for my students. A grade 9 student says the most informative part of the program was the section on budgeting. I learned the actual cost of many things I plan on doing in my future, like living on my own and going to university. The part where we learned about deductions on paychecks was interesting, and I have much better understanding of that now. Looking ahead for 2022, our most ambitious year yet, of course, we wanted to increase our reach to at least 355 students. That is adding 3 more schools, a total of 6 schools, to be able to take advantage of the programs that we offer, like AQUA School, Trochu Valley, which will be included for this year, and also Linden School. And increase our programs by 23 program deliveries, and of course, having more community involvement with 23 volunteers. But of course, we cannot do it without you. I've shown you some of the program materials that I have brought with me so that you can see what are the things that we offer the students in order for us to help us deliver these programs to them. Most of the cost, like 20 to 25% of the cost of delivering one program goes to these program materials. We want to make sure they're effective and at the same time equipped with a knowledgeable volunteer and teacher to learn these programs. I want to share to you one of the upcoming events that we're going to be having this spring in March, World of Choices. What is World of Choices? This is an engagement of several mentors from the region to share their knowledge and also their careers and how they were able to get there. This is a 15-minute run for each of the mentor to tell 10 minutes about what school did they went to, how many years did they take their course, what job are they doing now, and what is like to be in their job or in their shoes. And to inspire the youth that, is this the course that I wanted to take? Is this the career path that I want to go through? So students will be exposed to a variety of career possibilities and will have the opportunity to learn about the education and the qualifications necessary to fulfill their chosen career path. Also, students leave the forum excited about their future and better equipped to meet the challenges of today's work world. We need mentors from our communities in the region, and some of the examples that teachers and students are telling me that they wanted to hear from the forum are EMS, trades, educator, pharmacists, orthodontists, dentists, software engineers, pilot, dental hygienist, forensic investigator, and those are just some of those. Some came up as nurses, veterinarian, and also massage therapists. So a lot of factors that maybe you know someone who may be willing to contribute to this and would like to speak for 15 minutes virtually in order to inspire. I would love my vision for our community here in East and Central region is to have mentors all over the community, so that schools who will be participating in your area will be able to resonate because they know these individuals from their town or their community, and will be easier to to connect better with these people if they know these people, that they, oh, I know this person, she's my nurse in our hospital, or she's actually the dentist of a family friend. It would be great to have more community involvement with regards to World of Choices. And yeah, so I'm done with my presentation. If you have any questions for me, I'm open for any.
Are there any questions for Janet from our council? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Penner.
Thanks, Janet, for coming up. Not necessarily a question, just a bit of a clarification. A few years ago, I was asked to speak at World of Choices in Linden. Not because I've got a huge education in agriculture. It was more to do with women in agriculture and how I continued, or why am I passionate about the industry, and just exposing the kids to, you continually learn. There's courses out there, continually take advantage of those courses, and it doesn't mean, you know, you have to go away to further education to get a degree or whatever. There, you can continue your studies, you know, because there are a lot of courses externally out there. So
Yes.
I would make the suggestion that maybe you can contact a local rancher or
Yes.
female
Yes.
ranch woman to talk in that same thing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'm not offering my.
Oh no!
You're going down that road.
No, I don't care. But I think you should put it out there, because there are kids that will not go into the trades and to that higher education. They would love to farm, or they would love to just do
Yes.
hands-on things.
I
So-
have a school, Altario School, if you're familiar with them, that they're centered with farming. So I'm actually, I was looking into it, and we're close to Jungle Farm, and I've seen the lady in there, the family, who's very much involved in Facebook. So I see her all the time. So I'm looking forward to contacting her, and hopefully she'll be able to, you know, share that her perspective about how she went about her business and stuff. So yeah, so that's really a great input, and I love that. I wanted to see, like, as I see more about what is the dynamic of each of the school, because each of the schools are different, like Altario School, right? So I wanted to make sure that I'll be able to capture them to get to listen to us on World of Choices, because they know that we will have these participants in the World of Choices with regards to what education they're offering as well.
Just one more program, and I've said this in the past, my kids went through this. They've been out of school for some time now. It's been around for a long time. Thank you to the volunteers that have come forward over the years to do it. I think it's a valuable resource, just the basic. And I love how you're, in the different communities, you focus in certain areas. Like, it'll be interesting, you talked about the dressing, the students that went and made dressing and sold the dressing, the salad
Yes,
dressing and that kind of
yes,
stuff.
yeah.
We visited with a place in Halifax. It'll be interesting to see what the Youngstown School does. Like, I'm happy to hear that you're designing some of this stuff for the individual schools, as to say.
Yes,
You're pushing
yeah.
in certain areas,
Yes,
so
yeah,
thank you for
yeah.
that.
You're
Because
welcome.
in rural, we are having to change our focus a little bit with the environment that we have right now, to try and keep people out here.
That's right, yeah, yeah. Not everyone has a different, you know, as I've talked to the teachers, because I asked them what are you looking for in World of Choices? Especially, it's my first time to run this program. Who are the ones that you want to hear from? And there's lots, there's different careers that they want to listen to. And it would be something, an aha moment for those students who haven't thought about it, right? So it would be great to have, like, I'm trying my best to have different every day, and really, if I could, like 20 different careers, if I could do that. Because I think in the past, we've seen a lot from financial industries, right? So it'd be great so that we can open the minds of the youth to see that there's a lot of careers everywhere. It might be not for you at the moment, but later on, if you think about it, oh, I think this is the career path that I actually wanted to do. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yes, go ahead, Councillor McGee.
Good morning, thank you for being here, and I too have students that have gone through the program, and I have many accolades and much appreciation for it. There's just a couple points I want to talk to. First, I wanted to ask the question, are you also a part of the Drumheller school system? Because some of my residents do go to the Drumheller school, so
Yeah.
I mean, so they
St. Anthony.
Yeah,
That's
both
correct.
schools,
Yeah, yeah,
yes. Great. And then what I wanted to speak to is, I love hearing that you hear from the teachers about what they'd like to see at that. I'd like to recommend that maybe Chamber of Commerce's or the economic developments of the municipalities, those type of people are also asked that question. Because what I have learned from being in both schools and in the community is teachers have a very specific point of view, which is very much needed. But I think part of economics is contributing to our community and making our community thrive. And so we want you to be successful, but we also want you to be successful so we're all successful. And we need to reach out to those community people that have perspectives about what is needed here. You might get a different list, and I think that would be a really pertinent list to the people who live here.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you for that as well. I try to reach out to a lot of small businesses too. The problem that I'm facing with that is that they're very hands-on with their business, of course, so they don't have time to allocate 3-4 hours or even the 15 minutes that I was asking for World of Choices. So it's very difficult, and I'm still trying to have a talk with them and see where we can come up with this so that they'll be able to appreciate. The thing is that they have to experience the program in order for them to know about us. If they don't experience it, they wouldn't understand what we're trying to provide our youth, right? So, but I always, what do I say? Always put them on top of my list every time, because everywhere in the community, that's what I'm hearing about, that like booming really are small businesses. And I feel that if I'm actually giving them, this is your chance to stand there and talk and tell them about your business. I'm giving that opportunity for them, but hopefully soon we'll find time for them to be able to participate with JA.
Yes, go ahead, Councillor Cunningham.
Thanks so much for coming this morning. I think if I talk to my husband, he'd probably want to enroll me in that More Than Money budgeting program, but I'm probably a little old for it, but anyhow. Yeah, I just wanted to say wonderful program and good for you guys for pivoting through the pandemic, because none of this is easy to provide through this. And anytime that you can work with Kathy Price is a bonus, so that's awesome. And if you want some connections with the Chamber of Commerce that Councillor McGee mentioned, I can put you in touch with someone there too.
Yes,
So,
let's do
thanks
that.
for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions from council for Ms. Santiago? Well, looks like we're fine. Well, thank you very much for coming and presenting. Oh, Councillor Christie.
I just wanted to comment, I really appreciated the numbers of kids that you've been in contact with, that it appears that you're being very successful contacting and making interaction with them. So I appreciate that very much.
Thank you for that. I feel that the numbers are still very small. I feel that if they just realize that it is free and it's something that can benefit them, it's something that I feel that they should offer every year for the students. I know the hurdles that we're facing right now is that teachers are struggling to finish their curriculum as well, right? So I totally understand that. Like with this one extending another week for the winter break is a big of a difficulty already for our educators. We were so excited. I have like 7 volunteers lined up for in-person presentation for this month because we're starting that this year again. That's why we brought out again our materials that we can reuse for the students. But unfortunately, all of them canceled and shift to virtual and also teacher-led delivery. But I really feel we can, like triple these numbers if we can really if I will be able to make them understand that these materials are very valuable, so easy to teach, and just have more community involvement with regards to teaching the programs to our schools.
Well, thank you again, Ms. Santiago, for coming in, presenting in front of us. It is important for us to build the opportunities, to give the students the opportunities that and the confidence that they can be whatever they want to be in the future. Yes. It's the skills that they're going to need in the future. And the virtual world that we're in nowadays, they have so much opportunity that I would have never had at that age. So it's great to be able to have a business and run it from home and be tied into the whole province, nationally, internationally. So it's great for this, giving him the opportunity. So if there's no other questions from council? Again,
Well,
thank you
thank
for
you so
coming in.
much too for giving me the time to be able to discuss what we do and also tell you what we've been happening in our, in Nihil County. So yeah, I appreciate the support and all the suggestions, and I'll put that on my note definitely. And I would love to be more exposed with everyone else in each of the community that I handle so that we can get this, you know, triple the numbers and get it going to, for everyone. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks. Alrighty, so our next agenda item, or coming back to our last agenda item, 8.1, that would be the report from FCSS. Mr. Hogan, I guess, you're going to take this one?
I can, Mr. Eve, through you to council. This is just a disposition of the delegation. As it was just for information, we're suggesting the council accept it as such as per the motion in the RFD.
Okay, what's council's wishes? Councillor Penner?
I thoroughly enjoy every year when Ms. Jackson-Berry comes and talks to us, because this is a valuable, valuable part of society, and it's not easy for them with budgeting, with what they're having to deal with. So, I mean, saying that, I would like make the motion that council receive the presentation from the Nihil Regional FCSS program for information as presented.
Okay, thank you very much. I do agree with your assessment. Funding is a huge issue, and it's just getting harder, but they seem to be pushing ahead and making things good. So hopefully the funding part will change. Anyway, we have a motion before us to receive the presentation for information as presented. Is there any discussion to that motion? I see none. I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried unanimously. 8.2, very relevant and very fresh in our minds. Mr. Hogan.
This item is, again, Junior Achievement was here to provide information to you, but as Janette indicated, there was another motive there. Council previously approved support of the program for a 3-year term at $3,000 per year. So this is existing in the funding is existing in the base budget. But of course, the council's commitment to that ended going into 2022. So the issue that's before you is whether you want to continue that support for the Junior Achievement Program. That would be recommended in the amount of $3,000 per year for a period of 3 years. If council was to agree to that, you wouldn't see that specifically as a line item within the budget presentation, but we'd make sure it was in there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hogan. Are there any questions for Mr. Hogan? Yes, Councillor McGee.
I'm interested to know how we come up with the number of 3,000 for the future years. Thank you.
Are there any other questions from council? What are council's wishes? Deputy Reeve King.
I think we all agree that this is a good program, and I was happy to see they're getting some reception in a greater number of schools. That's really always good to see. So, because I think it's a great program, I'm going to make the motion that we approve a sponsorship to the Alberta Junior Achievement Program in the amount of the $3,000 for a period of 3 years.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion before us to approve the sponsorship for JA in the amount of $3,000 per year for the period of 3 years. Is there any discussion to that motion? I see none. I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Yes, I do believe GA is very important for our students, and it's great to see them come forward and present and help our students with some knowledge. From what I can see, that brings us to the end of our agenda. So I will adjourn, 10:40. Thank you.